Good evening and thanks for joining us. We begin tonight with an infuriating story about the abuse of power. As we first reported here on Friday, a former police officer in St. John, New Brunswick, preyed on children back in the 1970s. Ken Estabrooks would snatch kids off the street and sexually abuse them. He got away with it for 25 years, and children who had the courage to complain were ignored. Now those victims are talking again to us, and the full extent of Estabrooks' crimes is being uncovered. Our senior investigative correspondent Jen Tryon has been working on this, and she joins me now. Jen?
Donna, it's suspected that 260 people were molested by former St. John police officer Kenneth Estabrooks, many coming forward for the first time and alleging it was all covered up. This is a first look at Kenneth Estabrooks the way many of his victims would remember him.
Everybody knows Kenny Estabrooks' name.
But few said it out loud. He's telling his story for the first time in his life.
I mean, it's supposed to be serve and protect, not serve and rape.
He's one of 263 people investigators now believe were sexually abused by Estabrooks when they were kids.
These individuals were targeted and victimized as children between 6 years of age up to approximately 19 years of age.
55 confirmed living victims, 33 deceased, and 6 attempts. And there are another 152 suspected victims left to interview. He was 11 years old when he was first picked up and remembers Estabrooks raped him about 40 times before he turned 13.
Close your eyes and think of something else.
Some victims we spoke to said they told police and social workers but were ignored.
They had it all covered up.
In 1975, 2 boys complained about Estabrooks, but instead of being prosecuted or even fired, the police chief quietly transferred him to the city tire yard, and the abuses continued.
There's no two ways about it. They had to know.
We cannot change the past. The city's investigation into allegations of sexual abuse against Mr. Estabrooks is about doing what we can to right a wrong.
But this is where the investigation stops. The city of St. John has only hired investigators to unearth the victims. Nothing about who knew what and did nothing. Does your investigation then fall a bit short?
There may come a day where some of those questions have to be answered, but that will be for somebody else.
In the 1990s, Kenneth Estabrooks served 6 years for sexually assaulting 4 victims and died of cancer in 2005 after being released from prison. No justice for the hundreds of other suspected victims.
He got away with it, and there's not a thing that we can do about it.
There's the option of participating in a class action lawsuit that no doubt will touch on any potential cover-ups. One victim says he knows of 5 police officers that helped Estabrooks, and that Estabrooks knew too much about a former St. John police chief, and that the two may have been protecting each other. The city right now says it's only committed to getting the victims free counseling, not to investigating any further. Donna.
Jen Tryon in St. John tonight. Jen, thank you. And for more details on this investigation and how it failed the victims, you can go to our website, globalnews.ca.